throughout both the English and the Spanish throughout the day.
When I clicked on the feed, I think it started at around 200,000. I know there were moments where people were telling me it was at like 430 something thousand.
It was in the 400s after. Let me see what I have here. There were, by the time Ray came out, which is the first thing, they were over 300, and then the Stephanie Vicaire, they were right at 400 for the Stephanie Vicaire match. They went from 400 to 411. The Santos Escobar started at about 418 and ended at about 437. The Javon started 433 and ended at 481. And then the main event, this is all English numbers, by the way. And the main event started at 453 and ended at 501. So 501 was the peak.
It sounded like the Spanish numbers were around half. I don't know exactly half the whole show, but it seemed to be about half.
Okay, so the English numbers rose throughout the show. The Spanish numbers were more steady. They were in the 200s. At the end, they got up to 264 was the peak, which was the finish of the match. So it was about 65-30, which is another sign. It's like if it was the Mexican audience and the AAA audience, the Spanish audience would be the big number, and it was roughly 65-35. So not quite double, but not far off double. Yeah.
All right, we're going to go through these shows a little bit more quickly just because of time, because we have 3 to go through. But like you said, Ray came out to start the show. He cut a promo to start the show. His son was in the audience, as was Liv Morgan. First match, Mr. Iguana, Aerostar, and Octagon Jr. versus Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, and Lince Dorado. I thought this was a really fun match to start the show. You had the Mr. Iguana character who was very over with the audience, and he had the toy, and people were enjoying all of that stuff.
I think Mr. Iguana could be their Orange Cassidy. Just kind of like, because the deal is like it's a gimmick, it's a silly gimmick that traditionalists would hate, but it gets over to kids, and it gets over, and he can go, which is the key. If he was a shitty wrestler doing that gimmick, it wouldn't last, but he's actually a good wrestler doing it. So yeah, I thought this match was great. I thought everybody was, Dragon Lee was getting to be Dragon Lee, which he doesn't get to do in the United States very much. And I think he was probably having a blast. And the AAA guys, obviously, was big for their career. But yeah, Octagon Jr. did an angle with Dominic right after the match. But
he actually won the match with a fall-away slam moonsault thing from the top rope.
Yeah.
And
which on Lince Dorado, which was to set up the fact that he was wrestling on Money in the Bank.
Yeah, Dom grabbed the mic to talk trash about his dad. Octagon came over. They started to brawl, and then Dom said, they're going to have a match at Money in the Bank. So Dom's the matchmaker. Just called it right on mic.
Well, he's the champion. So there you go.
So then we got Stephanie Vicaire and Lola Vice against Chick Tormenta, and is it Dallas or Dalise? Dalise.
Who's actually from Panama. So there's a really funny thing. Dalise is actually, she's Negro Costa's wife and all that, but she is anything but a high flyer. As you could tell by the match. And WWE, they, one of the things that everyone did in not everyone in AAA, but all the people that they're using, they signed a lot of them to contracts, including people who are not even on this show, but everyone who was on this show, because, the last thing that they want is somebody's on the show and then Tony Khan goes and sign them because they're not under contract. So everyone's under contract, and they're doing merch with everyone. So for Dalise, because, people in WWE have no idea, right, about this. Did you see the merch stuff for her?
I did not.
It's all about this great high flyer who's known for all this aerial stuff, and I'm looking at it and I'm just cracking up because it's like basically like someone who knows nothing about nothing, and then you tell him, oh, we're going to do a T-shirt for Zack Sabre Jr., and they go, he must be like Will Ospreay because he's British. So it's this high flyer. Look at all the great flying moves that Zack Sabre does and all this, and it's just like, no. So I thought this match was pretty weak, actually.
Conan said, I think he said something like Lola would be the underdog because she's the only one who did not learn lucha as her base,
which is true.
Which is an interesting comment. By the way, I want Conan merch. Like, I just want a shirt that says, I want to say something real quick, because that was his line of the evening. And he actually didn't really say anything really quickly because he kept getting cut off because he was trying to.
It's funny. So this is really funny. In WWE, what they teach the announcers is, and this comes from Jim Ross, that if somebody is going for a pin and you're telling a story, you stop your story because the guy is going for a finish. And that's just how they're and Jim Ross taught that to everyone, and now Michael Cole teaches it to everyone. So Conan is going on these stories, and Corey Graves is seeing that they're going for a pin, and the way he's trained is like, stop
he cuts them off,
cuts them off, they're going for a pin. The other thing that they did, and Corey did this like 3 times on this show, and it was mostly in the Vikingo match, is when someone is, I say this all the time, when someone is going for a near fall and they're not going to get it, you always go for the win, or you basically do this thing where you're acting like it's the finish, which you never do at the finish because you're not taught to do it for the finish. You're taught to do it for the non-finishes, and anyone who listens with any regularity will pick that up. So it's like I was getting I was getting all the key near falls in the Vikingo match. It's just like, Corey told me that they weren't the falls ahead of time, which he did far less than the other announcers do, but it's still, I didn't really want to see it on a Triple H show, and there it was. And again, overall, like I said, overall Corey was fantastic. I'm just saying that is like one of my pet peeves. But so it was like Conan wasn't taught to announce that way. So there you go.
And then, so you got the double, what is the move called? The Devil's Kiss. They got
double Devil's Kiss. One. Yeah, they let Lola do it too.
And then after Stephanie got the win, she had her finisher. There was an interview with Veronica Rodriguez, and it was in Spanish.
She's the wife of Finn Balor, by the way.
And it was in Spanish, and I was sitting there for some reason waiting for Chris Charlton to tell me what they were saying, and I was like, "Hey, he's not even on this show." Like, we needed somebody to tell us what was going on.
Well, that
was pretty cool, though.
That should have been Conan.
Yeah,
but they didn't go back, and he didn't explain it.
And then the next match was Legado del Fantasma against Psycho Clown, Hijo del Wagner Jr., and Pagano. I thought this match went a little long. Like they had something going, and then they kept going, and then the crowd maybe got a little tired. And this is also the one where I thought the AAA guys should have won, but Escobar hit the Phantom Driver on Hijo del Wagner Jr. to win the match.
I was surprised that Wagner took the fall and not Pagano, because Psycho's a big star, and so you don't really want to beat him. But Pagano is a guy who is like. Look, he did a tope and splatted on the floor. He's, in a lot of ways, he's like Sabu.
That one looked really bad, too, because they moved so early that he had to physically do his move when nobody was even there. Yeah. And then Conan said something to the effect of, that's the reason why. That was unprofessional.
But they called it.
Yeah, he said it's unprofessional, but then he said that's the reason why they respect Pagano, because he's so reckless. And I was like, that wasn't reckless. That just looked kind of dumb. It was reckless, just a splat, but they moved a little bit too early on that one.
Pagano is a guy who every time you watch him wrestle, you think he's killing himself. And he's had all kinds of injuries. But he works very, very, very hard. And he can, if you're into, death-defying, Sabu, he's your guy. His stuff is, it's not smooth. It's sloppy. But man, the guy will take chances and give you everything that he's got. I mean, really, I thought that Legado del Fantasma, Santos and Angel Umberto, who really don't get a great chance to show their stuff in WWE, they got to show how good they were, especially Humberto Carrillo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's good. He's been good in WWE in years past, but of late, it's just so low on the card that they don't really get to show stuff. And I thought this was a good match, but not as good as the opener.
I like the opener a lot better.
Yeah.
Ethan Page beat Laredo Kid, Javon Evans, and Ray Phoenix to retain his NXT North American Championship. There was a lot of fun stuff in this match too, and
this was really good too.
When Javon and Phoenix were able to do their stuff together, that was a lot of fun. But Ethan would come in when people were, we're ready to see something cool, and Ethan would break it up for heat. But he actually did more high flying than you would ever see from him in this match too.
He was trying to hang with those guys, and everyone did well in this match. And I enjoyed this match a lot. So yeah.
The Phoenix did a really cool tope tornilla.
The tornilla was really, that was really cool. There was a lot of really cool moves in this one, actually.
What'd you think of Javon? You watch him in NXT and you're like, okay, like you understand why he's in this match. I thought it was a really good showcase for him, and he was on SmackDown as well. Like, he's so young.
21.
But it does sort of feel like he's probably not that far away from the main roster.
He's really good. And, he's got some great, that jumping ability, guy like that. And he's got charisma. So, yeah, I thought Ray Phoenix looks so much better here than he ever looks on WWE television in his few matches that he's had. So I thought it was a good showing for him. Laredo Kid was, pretty obviously to me, the guy was there to get beat and just put on a nice show. And it's what it was, So, but yeah, I thought a very good, very fun match.
And then the main event was Vikingo against Chad Gable. At the end of this match, it looks like Vikingo hurt his leg.
Yeah, I'm getting that. But one thing that was really funny was they did show a video package of last Saturday's show. And I mean, it was with Vikingo's title win, which is funny because, of course, all of the people who were paying attention know they said that he won the title on Saturday, but they know that the prior Monday they had already announced that he was champion.
Yeah.
On Raw, even though he just won the title on Saturday. But I think that they just kind of count on people not knowing that.
Triple H said it. It's just a part of the show. Were you entertained or not? That's the point.
Yeah. The other thing is when they showed the clip of his win, boy, did they never show how it was a real amazing thing showing this guy winning a championship over Alberto Del Rio without ever showing Alberto, because they haven't figured out what the hell to do with Alberto yet. Like, the negative pub, you know what I mean? The negative pub, like that, they backed off on him. Obviously, once that story came out about the signings, they backed